This is the Anything But Banker to Broker podcast. We're going to be talking to some of the industry's best and brightest about the unique pathways they took before stepping into broking and how it set them up for success. Thanks for listening. All right, everybody, joining me today, we've got the M in OVM. It's Will Miles. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's sort of a natural follow-on from having Azem on here, so we're kind of not.
That's all right. You might as well get through all the letters of the alphabet to get to us.
Correct. But yeah, what's been going on, mate? How are you?
Yeah, no, good. No, just business as usual. Yeah, we're into March now, which is crazy to think. The year's flying by already, but yeah, no, been really good. Strong start to the year, and yeah, starting up the socials and that sort of thing this year, which has been interesting. But yeah, otherwise, no, good. What about yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, I don't know about you, but like my year did start in January, not in February, like everybody else's.
Me too. Mine basically started in December. Just never ends. Business owners, I guess. So yeah.
How's the content stuff going? Like, it's obviously it is a slow burn. Like, it's not overnight. You're never going to be an overnight success in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit of a learning curve at the start, especially being on camera. It's not something I'm used to, and not something I like, and even still now, it's probably not the best for me. But yeah, you slowly get used to it. You get over that sort of fear of what are people going to think? And at the end of the day, look, we're providing educational content, and it's out there. So, that's our job at the end of the day. And I think, I think I heard someone online, I think Sam Penetta, I think you had him on your podcast, and I go through his podcast, which has been really helpful. And what he said, I think about brokers down the track, they're all going to be influencers. I think that's spot on. And I wish we started years ago, and yeah, starting it now. And like I said, it's a bit of a learning curve at the start because, things like cut, putting together a video, all new to me. I don't really do that sort of stuff. So yeah, being interesting, slowly getting quicker and faster at making the videos. But yeah, the first few weeks were good. I guess I had 2 leads within three weeks, which I wasn't expecting. Be a bit quieter since, but I've also probably need to be a bit more consistent. I think I've kind of been a bit lazy going down to sort of 4 videos a week, where I'm really trying to stay at 1 a day. So I think that's what really needs improving at the moment. But yeah, we'll get there.
I think a good thing for you to do would be to start using Claude if you don't use Claude.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I need to suss that out. Yeah.
Start using Claude because you can connect it to Canva and you can have it create at least the baseline of some things. Like, what I'm leaning into here is like videos are good, but you also need to do other things like carousels and pictures and things like that, because the algorithm really favors like a mixture of content. But mate, let's get into it, right? So the first question I ask everyone is like, talk to me about growing up. What did your mum and dad do? Like, where did you kind of get your, what was your foundation growing up at home?
Yeah, I guess I just had sort of a normal Aussie upbringing. We were in the eastern suburbs in North Melbourne. So yeah, mum and dad, they worked. Dad worked for pretty much, a lot of car sort of dealerships and sort of Suzuki, Toyota growing up, Mitsubishi. He's still at Mitsubishi now. So yeah, sort of worked his way up from sort of a car salesman into head office and, regional manager, that sort of thing. And I guess before he was doing that, I think before I was born, really, he worked at Macquarie Bank as well. Same with mum. Before I was born, that's where they met. Yeah, dad did that growing up, and mum, she worked sort of part-time at schools, so doing like registrations, that sort of thing. So worked at, say, Trinity Grammar, Scotch College, that sort of thing. Bit of back-end support for them. Yeah, so that was sort of how it looked for us.
Nice, man. So your dad's still working at Mitsubishi, but he's obviously in the office there.
Yeah, he's in Mitsubishi still, head office. So I think he's trying to slowly retire. So yeah, we'll see how that goes in the next couple of years. But he's kind of just stayed in that industry and worked his way up, really.
Slowly being a word that's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was you never influenced to go into car sales yourself?
Not really. Like, I don't know. There was probably a point where I didn't know what I was going to do for my life. I tossed and turned with sort of different career paths, especially towards the back end of school, where they really sort of push sort of, what are you going to do next year in uni? Like, what sort of career path are you going down? And obviously they've got career counselors and that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it was one of the options, but I don't know. It probably wasn't top of the list. Probably something I didn't really think about too much. So Yeah, maybe, but I guess I'm sort of in that really at the moment. It's just a different sort of field. Like obviously mortgages is, yeah, there's obviously the finance side of it, but a lot of it is sales and talking to people. And, there's 25,000, 22,000 brokers out there. You really are selling yourself and your services at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. Let's talk about school then. I mean, we don't have to talk about, primary and kindy, don't get me wrong, but let's talk about the last couple of years. Like, what were you doing there? Like, where did you sort of get the, yeah, what did it look like transitioning from school to working? What were you doing?
It probably wasn't the best. I think during school, I probably didn't take it seriously. I'd get in trouble, nothing serious, but, I'd be in and out of trouble early days. Pulled my head in probably around year 10. But even still, I didn't know what I was going to do. Look, I'd had ideas, sort of, everyone sort of wants to do things, but what's sort of realistic? What do you actually like? Like, how do you sort of work out what you're actually going to like? So I guess year 10, your work experience comes around and you're like, oh, do I try and, work at Collingwood Footy Club or AFL or something like that? Or do I use this opportunity to try and get myself into a part-time or a casual job that I can do on the weekend? So I went down that route. And myself and a mate from school, we both got work experience through Target, which led us to getting a casual role at Target. So as soon as I turned 15 or 15 and 9 months, I got a job there officially. And that was my first sort of workplace, growing up. And I stayed there until I was, 21-ish, roughly. So it was good. And it was good to have on the side and I guess sort of learn and obviously bring in an income because before then it was just like, pocket money from doing the lawns and that sort of thing. So yeah, that was my first job. Yeah, I guess while I was in school, yeah, like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. At times, I think maybe sports journalism, something like that, because I love sports, but didn't like English, didn't like writing. So I don't know why I ever thought that was going to be something I'd want to go down. And then I guess, I don't know, I liked architecture at one point. So I thought maybe I'll do that. And then I did art in year 11 and 12. And I was like, oh shit, this takes too long. I don't like this either. So that didn't go down well. I liked woodwork. So yeah, by the time I turned sort of 21, that was potentially an option. So as soon as school finished, I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I went to uni and studied business. Yeah, that probably didn't go as well as I would have liked. I moved out of home at 19 and living on Swinburne campus in Hawthorn. So yeah, yeah, I learned pretty quickly how to grow up, but I also probably didn't quickly enough because, studying and uni sort of, there was no motivation to do it, I guess. So probably matured a bit later than other people. So probably got to the point where I became sort of 21, 22, and a lot of people sort of started finishing up their degrees, that sort of thing. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So picked up carpentry, went to TAFE, studied that, got a job for a bit in that. Probably like I liked it at the start, but eventually I probably knew it wasn't going to be for me and probably not something that I wanted to do for the next 30 years. It's pretty hard work, I guess, and probably a bit lazy. Probably don't. I'm not a morning person either, so that I worked that out quickly. But yeah, then from there, yeah, it really spiraled really quickly into sort of where we are now.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's funny how the kid that messed around in school, but not too bad, ends up and going studying business because that's the same thing that happened to me as well.
It's like if you don't know what you're going to study, everyone just resorts to business because I guess business can be used anywhere. But then at the same time, what they teach you in business, I haven't used once since starting a business. I couldn't even tell you what we looked at in when I was studying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. It was like we would do maths and statistics. Like I failed maths in high school. Like I redid it in that year between high school and uni, but I wasn't good at it. And then they've got all these complex, like sub formulas and stuff in front of me. I had no idea. Then you do accounting, marketing, HR. HR was probably the one that I enjoyed the least, and that's probably the one that I'm more closely aligned to in what I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think business, it's bad to say it, but like a business studies degree is definitely a good stopgap.
Yeah. And I think it's okay as well, looking back. Like you don't need to know what you're wanting to do at that age. Like 18 is too early, I think. And I think for some people it works well. Like some people grow up knowing exactly what they want to do and they stick to it, and that's fine. But I think a good majority of people have no idea what they want to do, and you don't need to know at 18. I think, you see a lot of kids stressed out at 18. What's my ATAR going to be? I need to be like a doctor or whatever. There's always pathways to get through it. And I'm 31 now. It doesn't really mean a lot. There's always ways to get into what you want to do.
Correct. Like if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, like you got to go to uni. But I feel like it's that a lot of those kids that are in that position, the pressure comes down, it doesn't come up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The pressure comes
exactly.
down from their teachers or their parents. Like,
Yeah. And I think if you're going down those paths, you probably got different personalities to sort of me. Like I was pretty carefree and go with the flow type thing. I was always kind of like, I'll work it out, it'll be fine. And whereas those types of people that, become doctors and lawyers, obviously we chat to them still every day at the moment, which is kind of weird to think about. We're helping out those types of people, but I think they are very structured. They have, time frames of what they want to do, when they want to do it, and they know they've got a path for themselves, whereas a lot of other people can go back and forth with different things.
if you said to them, you're going to start your own business, they'd say absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not until they, the financial position probably we started our businesses in versus what it would take them to do it are light years apart, right?
Oh,
Because they
100%.
because of the
Yeah.
way they are. So like society needs all and both,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Like I've got a mate who's not an architect, a chiropractor, and I tell him all the time, you should start your own business, go for it, and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference in personality. It's like one's carefree, stuff it, like we'll do it and we'll work it out, and then the other's like, oh, what am I risking here? Like what does that involve? Like how long does that look like? Obviously, starting a business isn't free. What's that going to cost? So I guess each personality type is fine as well, though.
Let's talk about the pivot into finance then, right? So it went uni, carpentry, did that for a bit, got to the point where you're like, yeah, I don't want to do this forever. Did finance then come next?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Still on the side of doing carpentry, I still had like odd jobs. Like I worked at Village Cinemas on the side and that sort of thing. But yeah, I had my best mate at the time. He was very much involved in the property and finance space. So, we'd catch up and he'd tell me what he's doing. And at that stage, he was doing pretty well for himself. So I was a sponge, trying to learn, I guess, what that looked like and see if that was something I would be interested in. And then, yeah, got to the point where yeah, I was ready to take that leap and work out sort of that was something I'd be interested in and go from there. So I guess, yeah, he made me go get a job in and learn a little bit of the craft in the back end. So things like, credit files, bank statements, what that looks like in terms of lending and, the rules around that. So got a job in asset finance as a loan processor. So that taught me a lot, I guess, in sort of the financials and what you're looking at and what the lenders are looking at in terms of what comes in, what goes out, income, ways to calculate income, expenses, what credit cards, personal loans, hex debt, what that does to a client's financial position. So that gave me the real good base. But again, it was back end loan processing, asset finance. It wasn't really what we do as much at the moment. Like we do a little bit of asset finance, but not too much. So then, yeah, COVID came along. I was 1 month into that job and yeah, suddenly we're working from home and that was pretty crazy. So I stayed there during COVID and back end of COVID came out of that. And yeah, my mate had reached the position where he was starting his own company, putting on people, that sort of thing. So yeah, I just took the leap. I was like, stuff it. I've built up a bit of a savings buffer from COVID. Yeah, why not go and be a mortgage broker and learn that side of things as well as the property side of things. So at the end of the day, they were a property investment firm. So they did both, selling investment properties and doing the finance. So even though I tried to stay just within the finance because I thought that would be a better position for myself, I didn't really want to do the selling investment properties. So yeah, that's how we got into finance and mortgage brokering. And then, yeah, it happened pretty quickly from there on out.
Fantastic, mate. So when you started as a broker, were you working salaried? Were you commissions? Like, was there a transition? Like, how did that look?
Yeah. At the very start, it was commissions. So they would provide leads, but there wasn't too many at the very start. Then I guess as the business sort of transitioned and picked up, so they picked up a TikTok influencer who was then able to provide them quite an influx of leads. We started getting like 300 leads a week, and it was pretty crazy, pretty hectic between only a couple of us. So we had to really yeah, smash them out. But I guess that's where Azem and Jakob and a few of the other guys came into the picture. It was just not possible to do that amount of volume and that many calls, that many Zooms and that sort of thing. So yeah, got to the point where we went from commission to a salary. And yeah, that's where Azem and Jakob came on. So I was kind of in the role of teaching them as well because they didn't have any background in that sort of thing, pretty much at all. You've already spoken to Azem. So, car rides in, we were, yeah, short quizzes. I probably wasn't the best teacher, to be honest. I probably abused Jakob a little bit, but here we are. He's good at his job now, so it worked. But Azem was a little bit different. Had to have a little bit of a softer approach with Azem, but yeah, that's how we got into it. And yeah, we were there for sort of 6 to 12 months. I think I was there nearly 18 months and the other boys were around 6 to 12. And yeah, I guess after that period of time, things weren't going well for the company. And a lot of people weren't happy, ourselves included. And that's where we sort of thought, we're young, we're in the position. Why don't we just do this ourselves? We've seen somebody else start their own business. Now we've seen what works. We've seen how to do things the right way. And we took that leap and we started OVM. So that was 2022, I think around September. Well, we're now 2026. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to think, to be honest. We didn't think we'd be year 4. It was kind of, we would have been happy to be a year in. We were just, let's shoot our shot for 6 months. We had enough clients. We had a bit of a base. So we just thought, why not? And here we are.
Going back to what you said about the going from commissions to the salary, right? There was also the business had a huge, there was lots of lead flow coming into the business, like you were saying, unmanageable amounts. Why did you go from commissions to salary there?
Without going into too much detail, the commissions probably weren't realistic of how to be a commission company.
Fair
If
enough.
running a company now, I would not expect somebody to take what I was offered, and I would think it would be a bit delusional to even bring it up with those commission splits. At that time, look, it was a lot. It was a lot of clients, and Jakob and I, we were housemates at the time. We were on 5 hours sleep. We just brains wired 100% of the time, thinking, "Oh, did I miss this client? Did I forget to call this client back? Has this client provided all the documents?" It was just too much, and it was not possible to run that business any longer. So based on what we were offered as a commission split versus the salary, and don't get me wrong, the salary wasn't fantastic either, which is probably another conversation, but it was at least something to get us by, because as you'd know in this industry, being a broker, it can take 6 to 12 months to even get paid from first contact with a client to actually receiving the commissions. And we didn't really have that time at that point. We were probably already 6 months in being commission only, and it got to the point where, yes, we could see it working, but at those splits, we would have just been better off taking the salary that we were offered.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I want to hear it from your mouth. So, what was the transition? Because obviously, Azem's told me about you guys taking those car rides in, and it just being an idea that popped out and came into fruition. But what was it like from your side? I guess, yeah.
From my side, look, I don't want to say I was the ringleader, but probably was, being the one that got them into the jobs and that sort of thing, and probably had that more experience, that head start on the other two. So I think it got to the point where things had just got so, what's the word? Not bad, but bad as well. But it was not a place where people wanted to come and work, and we were the last ones left at that point. So there was only so much we could sort of take, I guess. And there was only, being, I was best mates with the bloke at the time beforehand. There was only so much I could do in terms of backing him up and, trying to get people onto. I was trying to keep everyone together because it was a good workplace early days. Like, don't get me wrong, we were all young, we were all having a great time, and we we're all doing good work. But there became a point in time where it wasn't that anymore. It was more about how much can one person make, essentially, and everyone else was dropping off. So it became a point where, in those car rides, everyone was unhappy. There was things happening every day. So it just got to the point where, look, we'd learnt enough. We'd had conversations with other people in the industry that had started their own business. And to be honest, it's not really a hard business to sort of start, to be honest. It's, you do your Cert 4, your diploma, you get your bank accreditations. Yes, you need a base, because how are you going to pick up the phone and talk to a client if you don't know what you're talking about? But we had that base. So really the only thing that we had to worry about was, where are our clients coming from? So that was, once we sorted that and once we had a sort of clear path on that, it was like, why not? Like, yes, we were prepared for, that 6 to 12 months of pretty much earning, not much, because it does take a while to start coming in, but we also were ready to go. We'd already started those conversations with, our own referral partners, our own sort of, mates and that sort of thing. So we had some pipe in the pipeline that we knew we could sort of start us up and give us a little boost to start us, which I don't think a lot of other people have when moving into the industry. So I think that's definitely helped us get to year 4, because without that planning, without that small client. Like, don't get me wrong, it was probably 2 clients a month for the first 6 months, but starting off 2 clients a month is better than zero for sure. So yeah, we got to that point where, we were discussing, yeah, how we transition into that and move into that and what that looks like. So we're having chats with aggregators, seeing sort of what's required. Because again, we had never done anything like this before. We didn't even know if we could start a business. We didn't know. We didn't know if we needed a mentor, which obviously you do, but we didn't know if you needed 6 months or 6 years industry experience. We didn't know anything really. So just starting those conversations with different people in the industry, and then we're working out sort of what we can do. And yeah, then the next day or however long it was, we started Googling names. What the hell do we call ourselves? We probably don't have a great name at the moment, being OVM. A lot of people say, what's OVM? And then we're just like, it's our last names put together, nothing fancy. But at the end of the day, like, for 4 years and no one really cares what your name is. It's all about who you are. So yeah, here we are.
See, I like the name, to be honest. I think it makes sense. Like, what I don't like is when people start a business called Shepherd Finance. You know what I
Yours
mean?
is
Or
fine.
Miles Finance. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's not about the name not being fine. It's like,
yeah,
does Will Miles want to come and work for Shepherd Finance?
yeah.
It would feel like for me that I'm building someone else's name and business up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, 100%. And I guess we didn't want that because we didn't know what we were going to be down the track, and we've got an outline of what we want to do. But if we put people on, we don't want them to feel like exactly what you said. We don't want them to feel like they're building up Will Miles Finance. Like, we're not individuals at the end of the day. There's three of us, and all three of us are equal. So, even if one of us has more clients and more industry experience and all that, it doesn't matter. Like, it's OVM, and that's how it is, and we're all okay with that. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, you could have some fancy name, like, I don't know, but at the end of the day, like I said,
Is it a name is it a brand that's going to pull not just people towards it, but people, like, not just clients, but potential employees and referral partners? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. At the end of the day, yeah, no one cares if it's Will Morris Finance or OVM Finance or Azem Finance, Jakob Finance. No one cares. It's more about, I think for us, it's more about who are they dealing with, who are they speaking to, who is OVM Finance, not, Will Morris Finance.
hmm
I think that's what we were aiming for, I guess. And yeah, still not, like, we probably don't love the name, don't get me wrong. Like, we're not sitting here saying we created this great name, but at the end of the day, I don't think about it. I haven't thought about it since we created it. It is what it
you
is.
since we last spoke, have you hired somebody to support you guys in the business? I think you have.
No, we haven't. We've still got Cass, our loan processor. So she's great. She's based in the Philippines. But yeah, we haven't yet. We're thinking about it. It's on the cards for this year. But I think what we're trying to do, well, for myself as well, I'm trying to build the socials. I want, a consistent lead flow, because at the moment, it's great to do your 3 to 4 mil a month, which is great for me. And personally, that's fine. But to build a company, I think I want to be doing 5 to 6 mil, like, having that buffer. Like, I don't want to, just because of the previous job that we had, I don't want to have any of those stresses of having to pay somebody. Whether that's the right or wrong way to go about it, it's probably going to take us longer to get to where we want to be, but I'm not burning any bridges, and I'm not putting any sort of employees in a worse position from them coming on to us. Like, I'm not going to sort of do that to anybody's. If I have to build up the socials, build up the monthly settlements longer, if that takes me 6 months or 12 months to do so, then that's fine, as long as everything's done properly.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's one of them, right? If you can predict what's going to happen from 12 months from now, which some brokers can, most can't, you can make a completely different decision on how you're going to do it. But building the trail up, building that, like, recurring 5 to 6 mil a month's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Then once you've hit the roof of what you can do and keep your sanity and keep your day and your personal life, that's when you maybe should hire.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at the end of the day, look, we love our freedom and flexibility as well. So if we ever need to turn off the tap or do less, or if I want to, go to Japan in May, like I'm doing, like, that's all fine and I can do it. I don't really have to worry about, you know, is this staff member, got business to work on and write, and, that sort of thing. So at the moment, there's a great deal of flexibility to this job, which we all really, really like. I think, as I mentioned, he's going overseas for, yeah, about a year, working overseas and visiting countries. So I think this job, the perks of it as well, is really, really good. But I think we need to keep ironing out our processes and really build on what we're doing. And yeah, I think we're in a really good position to do so.
Are you all of a similar age, the 3 years?
Yeah, we are. Azem's, I think, a year younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Jakob's 4 years younger than me, so roughly, yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, I think until the median age is like 35, you can run it as it is.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I
exactly.
feel like once the median age of you guys is like 35, maybe that's when you go really hard in terms of making it a businessy business.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, I think
in that,
look, sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say, in that period of time, right? If you can sustain doing what you're doing, you can live a life that, you can get all of that stuff out of the system before then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was thinking about it earlier, like that transition one day into, having an office and that sort of thing. If you asked me 2 years ago, I would have said that was definitely the goal. And, we want an office, we want staff members, like that would be pretty cool. But I think now, 4 years in, 4 years working at home, 4 years, flexibility, it's going to be tough to move into that. But I think once we are older, like at the moment, we're all still pretty, like I go and play tennis with Azem once a week and do that sort of stuff. But I think once we start having families and, really trying to upgrade sort of where we're at, I think, like you said, that 35 to 40, that's when we'll start being like, we need an office. We want to really build a brand, that sort of thing. But for now, yeah, 3 to 5 mil,
Just enjoying it.
not nothing either. Like a lot of brokers don't get anywhere close to that on average per month. Don't get me wrong, a lot do, and a lot are doing really well, but there's a lot that you wouldn't even know of based online. So yeah,
Correct. So you're just treating it as a high income, like self-employed job, basically, until it gets to the point where you
yeah,
build it as a business.
exactly. And I think that's why going from that 3 to 5 to that sort of 5 to 8 sort of range, that extra range allows us to then reinvest into the business. But at that 3 to 5, there's things that we want to do personally. I want to get multiple investment properties. I'm doing renovations on the house at the moment. Kids are on the cards, got a wedding as well soon. So I think, yeah, once we smash out that and we get past that and we're at that 35 to 40 range and we're sort of settling down, I think that's when that 5 to 8 mil to reinvest in the business then helps us, yeah, really start investing in the business from there.
Sounds good, mate. It's funny, I always wrap up with, tell me what the goals are for the business. I think we touched on it more than anyone that I've ever asked that question without asking
Yeah.
it. So,
Told everyone my life story, my life plan.
but I like it, mate. I think it's good that you've got these. It's good that you've got that in place. But like, yeah, personal milestones, you got to get them. You got to get them out of the way first.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
The milestones.
that's not something you really want to sacrifice as well. Like I think having that good balance is super important.
Correct, mate. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on.
All good. Thanks for having me.
Keen to tick off the V now. I've had the O and the M come on.
Yeah, I have to get you up and down for you.
Let's get him on board.
Easy. All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate it. And yeah, keep it up. I like seeing the content you're putting out, the podcasts. Yeah, good seeing
Same to
it
you, mate.
on YouTube.
It's good. You got to keep consistent on it. Just block out days and block out times to record it, and just go at it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you,
Easy.
mate.
All right.
Speak soon.
Thanks, Joe.
See ya.
See you,
Bye.
mate. Bye.